When may you legally drive around or under a railroad crossing gate? A. Never. B. When you can see clearly in both directions. C. When the warning lights are not flashing. The correct answer, A. Do not go around or under any lowered gate at a railroad crossing. Once the gate is raised, do not proceed across the tracks until you can see clearly in both directions and are sure there are no trains coming. When the road is marked with a solid yellow line and a broken yellow line, with a broken line next to your lane, you may pass. A. Only in an emergency. B. If you are on an expressway. C. If traffic is clear. D. Only at an intersection. The correct answer, C. When there is a solid yellow line and a broken yellow line in the center of the road and the broken line is next to your lane, you may cross the lines to pass if there is no oncoming traffic. After you have passed a car, you may return to the right lane when you A. See the front bumper of the other car in your rear view mirror. B. Have put your turn signal on. C. Have turned your headlights on. D. See the other car's headlights turn on. The correct answer, A. After passing on the left, before you return to the right lane, look at your interior rear view mirror and make sure you can see the front bumper of the passed vehicle. Look over your right shoulder to make sure you can see several feet of pavement between your vehicle and the one you passed. You may then return to the right lane. What should you do when you are going to enter a roadway from a private road? A. Blow your horn to warn cars you are entering the roadway. B. Stop with part of your car on the roadway to alert other drivers. C. Drive out fast to merge smoothly with the traffic. D. Yield the right-of-way to pedestrians and roadway traffic. The correct answer, D. When entering a roadway from a driveway or private road, you must yield the right-of-way to pedestrians and traffic on the roadway. Texting while driving is A. Always legal, but not recommended. B. Illegal. C. A safe activity. D. Legal, but only for non-probationary license holders. The correct answer, B. In the state of New York, drivers are not permitted to use a cell phone to type or read a text or email while operating a vehicle. Texting while driving can result in a fine of up to $450. If there is a deep puddle on the road ahead, you should A. Maintain the posted speed to make it through the water. B. Avoid the puddle if possible. C. Shift into neutral as you drive through the water. The correct answer, B. To prevent skidding on slippery surfaces, avoid especially slippery areas, such as ice patches, wet leaves, oil, or deep puddles. The safest surface for driving is a dry, solid surface. Which of the following commonly causes traffic accidents? A. Inattentive driving. B. Excessive speed under the driving conditions. C. Following other vehicles too closely. D. All of the above. The correct answer, D. Driving too fast for conditions is a major cause of motor vehicle crashes. Being inattentive to surroundings can cause a driver to collide with other vehicles. Most rear-end collisions are caused by drivers following other vehicles too closely. At a crosswalk, A. You must yield to pedestrians. B. Pedestrians must yield to you. C. Construction workers must yield to you. The correct answer, A. Pedestrians have the right-of-way at street crossings but must obey traffic control signals. Where a traffic signal is not present, vehicles must stop for pedestrians in a crosswalk, whether it is marked or unmarked. To avoid collisions with vehicles in your blind spots, you should A. Quickly turn your head to see if your blind spot is clear before changing lanes. B. Adjust your rear view mirrors every few minutes. C. Honk your horn right before turning or changing lanes. D. None of the above. The correct answer, A. Before turning or changing lanes, turn your head and glance over your shoulder in the direction of your move to see if your blind spot is clear. Never rely on your mirrors alone. What is the appropriate action to take when approaching a railroad crossing that does not have signals to direct traffic? A. Always bring the car to a complete stop. B. Slow down and be prepared to stop. C. All railroad crossings have signals, so you will never encounter this situation. D. Increase your speed to get across the tracks quickly. The correct answer, B. When approaching an unmarked railroad crossing, slow down and be prepared to stop. Before you cross, be sure that no trains are approaching from either direction on any track. If you see or hear a train coming, stop at a safe distance from the nearest track and wait to proceed until after the train passes. You may not park, A. on a hill, B. in a parking lot, C. on a crosswalk or in a marked bicycle lane, D. within 12 inches of the right side of the road. The correct answer, C. There are a number of locations where it is unlawful to park, including on a crosswalk or in a marked bicycle lane. When parking on the street, you must be within 12 inches of the side of the road. When driving at night on a dimly lit street, you should A. Drive slowly enough that you can stop within the area illuminated by your headlights. B. Turn on your high beam headlights to better see the vehicles ahead of you. C. Keep the instrument panel lights bright to be more visible to other drivers. The correct answer, A. You should drive more slowly at night than during the day because it is not possible to see as far ahead at night. You should make sure that you can stop within the area illuminated by your headlights. You may pass another vehicle on the right if it is waiting to A. Turn right, B. Turn left, C. Park at the curb, D. Turn into a driveway on the right. The correct answer, B. While you generally may pass only on the left, there are certain conditions under which passing on the right is permitted. You should only pass on the right if you can do so safely and you do not need to drive on or across the shoulder or edge line of the road. One situation where passing on the right is allowed is when the vehicle in front of you is making a left turn. This sign means A. One-way traffic, B. Intersection ahead, C. Merging traffic from the right, D. Highway curves ahead. The correct answer, C. This sign indicates that there is merging traffic entering from the right. What happens if you refuse to take a chemical test? A. There is no evidence to find you guilty of drunk driving. B. You cannot be arrested for drunk driving. C. Your license will be taken away. D. None of these choices. The correct answer, C. New York has an implied consent law, which means that by driving in the state, you have given your consent to a chemical test if you are arrested for an alcohol or drug-related violation. If you refuse to take the test, your license will be suspended. If a DMV hearing later confirms that you refused the test, your driver license will be revoked, even if you are found not guilty of the original charge. What does this road sign mean? A. Slow down and prepare to stop if cars are approaching you. B. Come to a full stop and go when it is safe to do so. C. Proceed carefully through the intersection, not always stopping. D. Stop only for traffic on an intersecting road. The correct answer, B. A stop sign means that you must come to a full stop and yield the right-of-way to vehicles and pedestrians in or heading toward the intersection. Go again when it is safe. You may drive around or under a gate that is being lowered or raised at a railroad crossing. A. As long as an approaching train is not too close. B. If your vehicle can do so without damaging the gate. C. If you first look carefully in both directions. D. Under no circumstances. The correct answer, D. Flashing red lights, lowered crossing gates, and/or bells at a railroad crossing mean that you must come to a complete stop. You must not go across the tracks until the lights and bells have stopped and the crossing gates are completely up. Do not drive around or under a gate that is moving up or down. This sign means, A. Continue at your current speed. B. You must stop ahead. C. Speeding is not allowed. D. There is a traffic signal ahead. The correct answer, D. This sign indicates that there is a traffic signal ahead. This road sign means, A. Road construction ahead. B. The road ahead curves left, then right. C. The road ahead curves right, then left. D. Steep grade ahead. The correct answer, C. This sign indicates that the road ahead curves to the right and then to the left. You should slow down to be able to negotiate these curves safely. When braking on slippery surfaces, you should apply the brakes, A. Quickly. B. Later than usual. C. More abruptly than usual. D. Earlier than usual. The correct answer, D. When braking on slippery surfaces, such as roads covered in snow or ice, you should apply your brakes steadily and slowly to avoid locking your brakes. Apply the brakes earlier than you would on a different surface to allow your vehicle extra time to safely slow down.